Hey, Joseph, how's it going, man?
Good, you?
Good, good. What's your question?
I got a quick question here. What are we doing with Leonard Fournette in the community? Like, I've had different values going all the way across, and I'm offering out everything for him, and I'm getting nothing. Like, I don't know what to do with them, pretty much.
What are you offering?
Well, it's not that I'm offering, I'm actually trying to sell him, like the running gun league that you
Got
started.
it.
I offered every pick up to the 108 and been rejected. So do I hold in that case? Like, I don't want to sell low on him. Like, my team won't be a contender. But what do you suggest?
Well, I think right now he's kind of right outside of that range of running backs that people see as safe. So, he's in that same range with like Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones. They're the ones that people are trying to sell as high as possible because they're probably at the very top of that untrustworthy tier, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just so hard. It's just so hard to sell running backs for draft picks at this point. I think unless you're aggressive with buying a running back, it's hard to buy them too. Everyone wants to buy Kerryon Johnson and Darius Geis and Marlon Mack, Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, Melvin Gordon. I mean, you name it. Everyone loves to quote unquote buy those guys low. But especially like run and gun, that's a point per carry league. I mean, there's a little bit of a bonus for running backs. So why would you sell essentially a dart throw running back that could escape free agency with a job? Why would you sell one of those for like a mid-second round pick or something like that? So there's a gap, you know what I mean? No one wants to sell for a low price, where they're basically taking a dart throw second round pick, but no one certainly wants to buy for a premium, top 8 super flex pick either. Because that's going to be in the range where, heck, I could get Cam Akers or Edwards-Helaire or Justin Herbert. And I mean, immediately they're going to have more value than a lot of those guys we named. So I think you just kind of got to keep. Maybe a better move would be sell him for I wonder if you can get like an early second round pick and then also a swap back with another running back, a guy that the community sees as lower.
Who
But I mean, I've said it on a couple times. People are gonna get me on this video because I've already mentioned his name like 4 times. But I think Ronald Jones is a great buy low.
I've been buying them everywhere I can. I love it, man.
I mean, I wonder if you could go to the Ronald Jones owner and get Ronald Jones plus a early second round pick or something like that. Because really, if you're willing to trade Fournette for like a 110 or a 112, that's a range where it's going to basically be the same choices of receivers depending on what draft you're in. The 112 could be Henry Ruggs in one league. It could be Justin Jefferson in another league, but those guys could also be the 202 in certain leagues. Just depends on where the landing spots are and who people prefer. So I look at that as all the same tier. I mean, I'd rather be higher, but to me, there's no difference. So if you could get a 203 and Ronald Jones for Leonard Fournette, I would do that and just bank that Ronald Jones is going to be as good as Leonard Fournette, and I'm getting a free 203 out of it.
Exactly. But it's like,
so maybe try that.
Sorry. It's like Mason brought up the other day, like Ronald Jones's name has a bad enigma to it. You know what I mean? That's the problem, right? So it's like he can have an RB1 season next year and he'll still have that bad name to him.
I mean, yeah, no, I get that. I've said that a lot about players. There's players that already are so soured by the community, it doesn't matter what they do. They're never going to have a value bounce back to where you can sell them for more than what you bought. But I think Fournette's kind of at that point too.
He's getting
where. Yeah, there's not really anybody. There's people that are buying him, but most of the people that I've seen that want to buy him are kind of the real short-term dynasty players that are aggressively buying guys like Darren Waller and Robert Woods and guys that are way more productive than what their cost might be, but they're not really buying a good asset. They're buying an asset that's really never going to go any higher in value than it is. So, I mean, I think you probably should just be a little more open-minded with what you would accept. But I think the key being, in a league like that you start so many players in that league. And just for those that don't know, this is a league where, you're starting a ton of players. I mean, you're starting 13 or more players. So having some depth is good. So being able to hit on maybe like a Denzel Mims or something, if you get a late or an early second round pick and getting a running back you can still play, that would be the approach that I would take. Cause I don't think you're not getting a top 8 pick for him at this point. Not in March or April.
That's what I figured. Now, if you still got time, I want to give you one more question regarding a rookie draft.
Sure, man.
Okay, I'm just going to pull it up here. So in one of Mason's office leagues, We had a startup last year. It's a regular PPR, I think start 11, but it's a 0.15 per yard, 0.15 per catch tight end premium, right? So I went heavy rebuild off the startup. So I just acquired a ton of 2020 picks. So right now, I just want to highlight my main kind of players on the roster. I got Jimmy G, Daniel Jones, Drew Lock. Who else? Sorry. Kerryon Johnson, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, Mark Andrews, Noah Fant, and TJ Hawkinson. I'm also set up with the 101, 103, 109, 110, 111, and 8 second-round picks. I pretty much own the whole second round.
Oh, yeah.
What would you do in that? Like, my quarterbacks are kind of set, but they're not. Like, I've been kind of going, like, I was thinking maybe take the number one running back at the 101 and force the guy at 102 to take Joe Burrow and then go from there.
So this is a 14-team Superflex or 12?
It's a 12-team Superflex, sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking the running back that I want at 101. And I'd said that a couple times. If I have the 101 and the 103 or the 104, to definitely take the running back you prefer and just kind of settle with whatever quarterback they leave you at the 103. But honestly, the way your team's set up, I mean, you said you have Daniel Jones.
I actually forgot to mention Josh Allen. That's who I forgot. So I have 4 starting quarterbacks. Yeah,
so I'm probably passing on the quarterback at the 103.
That's what I was thinking too.
Shopping the pick, because if you still want to address the quarterback, you have so much draft capital that, I mean, you can take a shot on whatever quarterback falls to the second. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be able to take like Jalen Hurts with one of those second round picks if you want. Mm-hmm. So I'm not rushing to take a quarterback at 103. I think where your team is right now, you're set up to smash. And if you can get 2 of the top 3 running backs, which you're going to be able to get, I think that's the route I'm definitely going.
That's what I was thinking. Then I think I own the 109, 111, and 112, and then 8 second-round picks. I was thinking of, if Herbert falls to me, possibly taking him, or just smash receiver in that range, unless one of the top 5 running backs fall to me, of course.
Yeah, I think you're probably in a place where you can just watch the draft board. You have so many second-round picks that you may be able to bump up a slot or 2 from that 109 if you wanted. Or potentially you can move around the board and consolidate. But yeah, I mean, you're set up to get 4 or 5 of the top 10 receivers if you want.
That was my problem. I can't walk away with this draft making all my picks.
Right. No, I'm with you. I have a couple leagues like that where I have a league where actually I own 18 of the top 28 picks. And I'm in the same boat. I'm up against a roster crunch to where I can really only fit in like 9 or 10 players. But so there's no way I can make all the draft picks. So I think you just got to be that annoying guy that sits on the clock every time you're up. And that 109, 111, 112, those are prime trade outs for a future first, plus or something like that.
Even the second round picks, because it's a deep taxi squad and it's for first, second year players. So I got a 10-player taxi squad, right?
Yep.
Even if I absolutely had to, I can make the picks. But then I go into 21, I own 2 firsts, I think, and 3 seconds. So I almost got to shop them to move up or get a stud or something.
Yeah, that league I was just telling you about, where I had all the picks, I already took the 201 and traded that along with a late third for a future first and a future second. And I basically did a 201, I think it was like a 306 and a 409 for a 2021 first and second. So I got the bump up, a pick or so from the 201 to the 2021 first, and basically the second for, the third and the fourth in 2020. But I maybe could have got more on the clock, but I had so many picks before then. I have 7 picks before that guy can even make the 112. So I'm looking at it as I'm going to get everybody that I really want. And I may not, if I take everyone from a certain tier, that offer may not be on the board. So given the roster crunch, it's a little bit of extra value to take the deal now. So maybe try that. Maybe see if you can alleviate a couple of those picks and still pick your slots. Don't give up a spot where you're going to give up a lot of leverage. Like don't give up the 109, because that creates a big gap on the board where you don't have a pick for 8 more slots. So maybe give up the 111 or something like that, because you're still going to have control kind of in that tier because you have the 109 and you have the 112.
Solid, man. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, no problem, man. See you later.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.